Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation. I am more than happy to share my experience with all of you. And talking about my background, as you, Annie, mentioned, I'm industrial engineer. I came from Peru. And here in Canada, I decided to study my master degree in business administration because in the past years, I like to have different ideas to make different kind of business. And here in Canada, I discovered an opportunity. I found it, and that's why how I founded my first company here. It's a company that helps newcomers coming from different countries around the world to find their first place to live here in Canada. Like these places are places for rent, like apartment houses, and also rooms for students that came only for short term. And this is something that I feel happy because this great decision when I decide to made it here with my partners, it was thinking in how we arrived here in Canada. When I had my first days this country, I didn't know how to look for a place for live long term, and it was difficult because I had to look for information in another language. Also, I didn't have family or connections that could help me to find a safe place to live long term. That's why um, I found this opportunity, and it's how Just Go to Canada was based here.
Thank you for sharing your first experience in Canada. And I uh, I did some research about your background, and I saw your background spans industrial and system engineering, and like the real estate industry you just mentioned, and also now coming to sales and digital marketing. So, uh, I want to know what motivated you to explore such a wide range of industries.
Well, when I finished the high school, it was difficult to find what things I liked the most because I was finishing school and it was so hard to take a decisions in which field I'm going to like specialize. Um, I had to visit different workshops to identify what industry I really like it. And finally, I discovered that a career that has a little bit of everything. For example, industrial engineering in Peru is a career where this career in specific has a little bit of business, also administration, human resources, physics, math, statistics, and different fields. And I really like it. I decided to study it because it has a little bit of everything that I consider that could help me to improve my professional career. But when I finished the career, I got a really great job. It was in one of Caterpillar's dealers in Peru. I was working there as a business analyst for many years, but always my dream was to go outside from Peru because I wanted to study a new language and have a different kind of challenge. So for me, like since child, I have in my mind that I wanted to go outside. So the plan that I did is to finish my career, work a couple of years to save money because study in a country where is not our main country is expensive, and I had to save money and invest a little bit to have more money to finally decide to came to Canada. And in one of these moments where I have to discover what more things to do, I also discovered that I like the marketing and sales. So that's why I had to study by myself how to do a website or sell online different kind of courses around the world. And I have to learn how to do a kind of advertisement. Like if you see guys, when you are in your social media, there are a couple of advertisements that offer you a course or shoes or bags or something that you look for in the past. So this kind of advertisement, I had to learn to do it to sell digital courses. So that's why with this, I have to improve my sales and marketing knowledge, plus the background that I have studying industrial engineer. And when I was working in an office in Peru, after I finished my degree, I was doing two things, like from 8 to 5, working in an office as a business analyst. And then when I came to home, I ran other stuff and I studied more things to diversify different kind of incomes to finally achieve my main goal that was to came to Canada.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing all those new things. And yeah, it's so true that like we always like to explore other things because it's so difficult to just do one job like till you retire. So I think switching between those industries can be really stressful. So how did you stay motivated and manage stress while you learning new skills in each transition?
The motivation was that we are in an era that everything is online, everything is in social media. So I decide to study what I consider it will help for my future, because like I consider that the technology is going too fast, and that's why I decide to study different things to keep learning what's going on in the present, but no like forgetting that I have a job or my background, because it's also important to like to stay working in something that I found in the past. So that's the thing that I found really the kind of motivation for me to keep growing. I'm a kind of person that like to learn new things, and if I have the time and I can do it. So it was hard because all my day was busy, but at the end with the results, and also that I discovered that I have developed new skills, for me it was really nice, because like I could identify that I am good at in different things.
So I think a very clear target sometimes can be very motivated when you when you're on the way to try new things. Uh, like close to our topic today. So can you share a particularly stressful situation from your career and tell us how you manage it with that?
Yes, for sure. I have a couple of stressful moments that I had in my business. But the first thing that I would like to share with you is it was a great challenge for me and my partners to find the right team for our company or our business. Like when we start our business, we have the dream to develop our career path. We go from the scratch to reality, creating different strategies and analyzing how we can do better and better. However, in the process, as my experience, I found a great challenge when I had to find the right people for my team, people who really matter what we offer as a company, people who understand why we should follow our procedures and respect them, and how important are every client for us. So even more when in a company, our clients are not a simple number. For us, always is very important to take care about each one. So the first stressful scenario I had was to find that right people for my company and really trust them. Like they they could be a great fit for us. So I would like to share with you that sometimes we cannot go through life thinking a person could kind of steal our idea or our information. Exists a risk for every decisions that we choose, but it's important to identify that we should feel free in trust about new people that is interested in work with us, and also trust in their process or results that these people had in the past. So this is something that I have learned, like to learn how to build a great team. Of course, in the process, we are not going to have the right people like always, because we are kind of building a relationship. We are knowing each other, and also new people is knowing how we work and how we are. And the key is to look for and trust the process that it's possible to find the right person for our team.
Mhm.
So
So, yeah, it must be very difficult to find a team member, even though, like in school, when you need to do some course project, it's so difficult to deal with your team member if they're not the right person. And especially for you to start a new business here in Canada, you don't have any familiar people or your trusted friends here. So it must be very stressful. So, but thinking about a good side, have you ever, uh, like, can you share a time when something that didn't go as planned, but you learn a lesson and from it, and you still use that in the stressful situation?
sorry, could you repeat the questions? I didn't get
Yeah.
you.
So can you share a time then when something didn't go as planned? Like, what did you do about with that?
Um, yes, I think a couple of them were not a kind of something that we plan to do it or to have. For example, it was a big challenge when we wanted to open operations in different cities from Canada. And we were looking for people to be part of our team in different cities. And we have a kind of deadline to meet our objective. But it was so hard that time that when we start looking for them, having interviews, and finally training them to like to match all the deadlines that we planned to do the next steps. So here at the beginning we have a plan, and then the result wasn't as expected. So in this case, I had to like reorganize everything with the team, identify what kind of things we didn't do right, and improve it, and also try to don't judge ourselves too much, because in this process where we are running a business, like we are learning in the same time that the business is growing. We want to be kind of perfect or do our best, but sometimes we don't have what we expected, and we have to understand that we don't have the control of everything. There are things that we can control, and there are others that we cannot control, and we cannot judge ourselves all the time if something like doesn't fit with what we wanted. And I guess this is the key to avoid feel stressful or feel that we are not doing things well. So yep, this is a kind of advice that also I could share with you, that don't judge ourselves too much when we do a mistake, or when we don't achieve our objective. We are going to try to do our best, but we cannot control everything, for sure.
Yeah, thank you for sharing and thank you for advice. And it's kind of interesting to hear about house jazz can be one kind of like daily things you deal with when you try to build your own business. So yeah, because pressure often seems to be go hand in hand with high expectations. So I want to know for many of the jobs people are facing those very tight deadline and also unmet KPIs. So how have you ever experienced some situation like this before, and how did you handle the pressure of the deadline and KPI in your work?
In my experience, I consider that we use a lot of KPIs when we talk about sales, because sales is one of the first or main pillars of every business. Like without sales, we don't have incomes or more jobs, right? So it's important to have KPI to identify and compare. Like, for example, you have many services or many products that you are selling. Identify which one is going to, like, is working more and giving us right profit, and which one is not going too well, and how we can do to improve it. So the stressful scenario that I have facing this is when we started. We didn't have too many connections where we can say, hey, we are here to help you with this information. So we had to knock the doors for every company or every people, and also create different strategies to sell our business, to reach out to more people. So in this part, I apply my marketing and sales skills. First, the first thing that I consider a business need or must to do is a website where people could look for you and know what you sell, what you do, who you are, what is your objective, and why you help the community, and so on. After that, it's important to have social media networks, because without social media channels, it's impossible to reach out to more people that are in different countries or different cities, or people that has different cultures. So it's important to be in social media. And I know, and I have friends that they also have business, and for them are sometimes difficult to do a kind of video or a post. And I understand it's very difficult to talk to a camera or talk to a computer and try to mention who you are and what you do and why you do what you do. But it's something that every business should do it because if we are not in online, it's impossible to reach out to more people in these days. So after that, creating strategies for marketing and sales. The other stressful scenario was to learn how to edit videos or record videos. And with that, I considered it did a great positive impact for having more sales in my business. So you guys, if you are planning to have your own business, or you work in a company that you see that they are not on social media yet, it's a great point to start to have more sales and to share to the world that you exist and you offer a beautiful service or different products.
Yeah, thank you. I think Vision to Reality also doing this kind of like this very meaningful events as well, and that's how we organize those workshop and storytelling events, and it's 100% online, and we're trying to like share everyone with your experience and valuable advices. So we talk a lot about the challenges and but like now I want to I want to know that have you ever have a stressful moments, but eventually you turn that into a good thing, turn that into one of your achievement?
Yes, I consider for me it was difficult has a work-life balance. For this point at the beginning when I was running the business, I lost the meaning of my free time. And any moment that I had to relax, I invested in learning more, ordering something, training the team, and so on. And I try to have my agenda the busiest possible. And there was a moment when I realized that didn't find a balance between my personal life and my business. I forgot in a moment that I have friends or family, and it is something crazy because it's not only happens when we run the business, it's also happen when we have a job that we really enjoy and we want to do our best. Like in this process, in both cases, it's important to identify that we are human too, like exist a Gabriela that wants to have a kind of relax or see different things of business and having a job. So it's important to take care also ourselves, because if we don't take ourselves, it's impossible to receive help from other people. And also all the people that is around us, like our family, our friends are people that love us, right? And they want the best for us, and also they want to have a big moment to enjoy it together. And we, like, for my experience, it's important to don't lose these kind of connections because they are the support of what we do. Like if we have objective and we have things that we would like to achieve, is because for sure we want to make happy, I don't know, my mom or my future children's, right? We are not thinking to do something because only for us. The reason are probably our family or our partners and so on. So it's important to find a work life balance between our dreams and also our personal lives. So this is something that I saw it as a challenge and turned on into a great opportunity to like to improve what is important as me, like a person.
Yeah, it's very important to realize that our life is not only about work, business, and money. It's also about the people surrounding us because like you you need to precious those time with them. So I want to know, except of this work-life balance, what's the other valuable lessons you've learned about handling stress in business, and how has it shaped the way you work today? What's other valuable lesson you learned?
The other value thing that the other value situation that I have learned is to organize myself pretty good and using different kind of tools. Like today, there are different tools like Google Calendar or Trello. Like at the beginning, I had my physical agenda and I wrote everything there, but there was a moment where I lost my bag with my agenda, and it was a great problem because like my agenda was my brain, and when I lost it, it was difficult to remember everything. And from that lesson, I learned that it's important to use digital tools. That's why today I'm using Google Calendar. It's a kind of reminder, and also to like I use this tool to have information from my business, my job, and also for my personal activities, because I can see in one place what I'm going to do for tomorrow or for this week. So I consider using these kind of tools. They are um, good assets that we should consider use every day, to try don't like have too much information in our brain and avoid like stress in this kind of situation when we have a lot of things to do.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a very valuable lesson for me as well, because before, back in my country, we don't use Google, so I wasn't that get used to use the Google Calendar. So I always miss some of the meetings and events because of like the calendar didn't remind me of that, and I couldn't remember in my brain as well. So, would you like to share some kind of creative and interesting solution you've come up with when dealing with a challenge in your business?
Yes, when I we faced another challenge when we wanted to try to keep having great quality in our service. And for this, as we growth in a company, talking about people and procedures and different stuff, it's important to build and create this great relationship with your team. And every week or monthly have different meetings, around one or two, to talk about the procedures and the objective and something that they need additional from what we can provide. Because a mistake that I did is train one time and leave the team work alone and trust that they are going to do it well always, right? But it happens to me when I am working in a company. It's fine to receive that training, but also it's important to ask if everything is going well, or if we forgot something and we would like to refresh, or if I have additional questions, or if we need extra help to keep improving our job. So this is a mistake that I did, like to train one time and leave people do their best. But as my experience, I consider that having these kind of meetings every month, it's very important to also the team could feel belonged and be part of something, right? Because as a humans, we would like to be part of everything important that we achieve as a company, and also the recognition, like when someone do their best, it's important to say, hey, this month you did great, I learned from you, and I consider this could help all the team to improve in a things, right? So it's important to stay with your team, connected, training, talking, not to control if they are doing everything, because it's impossible, but just to mention them that we are together. That person is not alone in the process.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this experience, and I think it's also I kind of feel the same way because I'm a volunteer in Vision to Reality, but we have a bi-weekly meeting. So that makes me feel like, okay, like I am part of these organizations, and they also tell me that what did you do, and they say that you're important for the organization, that motivate you to work more. So I think it's very important in your business. So uh and also I have a personal question. So I noticed in your LinkedIn profile you held the project management certification since 2023. And I am personally also preparing for my project management certification as well. So could you share some example on how you apply what you learn from from your certifications to real life project, and how you deal with the stress while you know like prepare for the certifications?
The first thing, and it's important to find resources to keep learning in something that we believe that we are not too good at. And the reason why I decided to study this certification, or many of them, like not only in project manager, I also study different stuff that could help my business, and also the activities that I did for places where I was working with, is because, like I said at the beginning, it's important to be updated with the information that we have in the present. And also, when I start living here in Canada, like I found many interesting positions that they said that it's important, like in positions that mentioned to be a good project manager with different stuff. And I have here, well, here in Canada, I have my business, and also I have, I'm an employee of a company. I can manage both. So the reason why I studied that certificate is because of the job that I have, being project manager too, because as my background is different, and with my experience with my company, I found that it's very important to understand what is the meaning of manage different kind of projects at the same time. So in my personal life, I consider that it's very challenge manage a business and also be an employee. But in the company where also I am working with, is amazing because I manage around 10 projects at the same time, between 10 and 15 projects. And we have to have in our brain and mind the information of all of them, and see in which stage we are or they are, and try to push every job to meet the deadlines. And also, I'm in charge in talk with the client, and also coordinate the installation of every project. And if I made a small mistake, all the next steps like are they have an impact of what I do in others. So the reason why I decided to study that is to identify how I can improve managing different kind of projects in the reality, and how we can meet the deadlines in the specific dates that our clients decide to have the project done, right? So it's difficult, but I consider it's great because we have a different days, we have different challenge, and all the time we have to be like very active or of in what is going on, and see if everything is going well, it's going right, and seeing all the process from the beginning until the end. And I found this very similar with my company, because in my company I saw all the process. Like I see all the process from the beginning until the end. But in my job, I see the same situation, but in a small scale. So I'm learning too how is like works the Canadian jobs, and also at the same time I'm running the business.
Mm. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And I want to ask that as a leader and owner of a business, then how did you deal with the challenges of the employee of yours might face? Like how you deal with their challenges? Like the employee of yours, you're building your own business, then how you deal with when the employee of yours, they are facing some kind of challenges and when they feel upset. I want to know, how did you deal with that?
Well, I have a great relationship with them. Um, Also, I'm not a kind of leader that only call them to see how that works, how the job is going on. I also call to say if everything is going well with their family, because for me it's very important. Like in my case, if my family is fine, I'm going to do my best in my job, in my business. So I think this is something similar that could they face if in their home they have problems. Probably in the jobs they won't reflect that good things that they really can do it. So as my experience, I consider creating this good relationship with them, like an honest relationship is good, because we are not only talking with employees, because I am also employee and I would like to receive this kind of threat from my supervisors and so on, and I would like to give the same threat. I'm not if I'm not I don't know if my pronunciation is good with this word, like threat as you want it to be. Threat is the key. I'm not I'm saying well, but like I would like to receive the same respect as like I give to others.
Yeah, it's important to give positive energy to whoever it's your leaders or your employee. And I think here we come to the last question. So many members of Vision to Reality Foundation are newcomers to Vancouver. Oh, I saw Carlos, it's raising your hand. Do you have a question?
Yes. Do you hear me well?
Yes.
Perfect. So, well, Gabriela, I know you like since a while ago. I know that you've been going through a lot. Like, you've been working full time, well, working part time, studying, and also building your business. So, first of all, I suppose a lot of what you did was based on mindset, on how you manage your mind. And how you in order to overcome different struggles and finding a job, even applying to jobs while having other stuff going on in parallel. So, and you also mentioned that you decided to start to focus more on taking care of yourself. So how are you taking care of yourself right now at the moment?
It's a difficult question, but I am more than happy to answer. Thank you, Carlos. Well, right now I am working full time. Like I know you, Carlos, from years, I guess. But in that moment where we saw each other, I was working part time. After I finished the master, I decided to look for a job full time while I was growing my own business. And this journey is a kind of prioritize, because here in Canada, like I will be the most honest possible. Like in this moment of my life, I am not permanent resident yet. To be permanent resident, we have to follow different steps, and one of them is to be an employee. and have the language and experience and so on. So the main objective that I have coming here is to have my PR. In the process, I found the opportunity and we founded the company and we grow the company and the company is going well. But this is not something that it will help me to get my first objective, that is to have the PR. That's why I'm doing a kind of sacrifice, because having a full-time job where I am project manager and at the same time running a business is really hard. And answering your questions, like what I'm doing now, from Monday to Friday, I work from 8 to 5, focus in my job. I don't answer any other things related to my job. And after 5, I came home and I work in my business. Sometimes I have meetings, sometimes I have to deal with problems, sometimes I have to train, but I try to balance my days from Monday to Friday. Like, because I give around 2 or maximum 3 hours, like from 6 to 9 to do things of my business. And on weekends, I decided to don't do anything from my business and my job. On the weekends, I am focused only in myself. I go camping or travel, or I try to disconnect my cell phone to try to be with me, with my family, and enjoy, because it's hard, but I believe this is a kind of challenge for me, because I decided to have at least 2 days in a week to have time for my personal stuff. That's why I consider from Monday to Friday I'm surviving. And on the weekends, I try to relax all the time that I can. And of course, I also like to travel. I also like to visit new cities. And when I travel, I organize everything. But when I organize everything, and when I'm going traveling, I don't answer any kind of issue from my business and neither from my job. So that's why it's how I separate my stuff.
Well, thanks for being vulnerable, and because I think it's important to spend time with yourself, even though you're spending basically all week working and you're hustling, and that's important too. And also, as you mentioned, also thinking like at the end, the PR process, because I've been in the process myself as well, like everyone, is something that you're always thinking about 24/7. So regardless on working in your full-time job and then working on your business, you're still thinking about that primary objective. So thank you very much for sharing that. So I think it's very important, and and great to know that you're taking care of yourself more than before.
Yeah, it's important to have this kind of balance. And also there was days where I felt a kind of tired, and I like guys, you can feel your body and say when it's a moment to relax
To
and
reset.
to reset. And I feel my body, and when I feel that I am too much tired, I decide to stop. Like 1 day or 2 days is enough for me to reset everything and then continue. But it's important to feel and also take care about ourselves, eating good things and stuff. That's why for me it's very important having breakfast, having a healthy lunch and dinner, because during the day we are like, I am working too much and I need to be like to have the right food to don't forget that my body also needs to to be here, right? The unique thing that I couldn't do is exercise. For me, it's very difficult to do exercise. All the time I say, tomorrow I will start, but I don't know how people do it, but I wanted to go outside and run and or do something different, but it's hard. I prefer do something small in my home, like a kind of yoga or something related to that. But since like I felt a great challenge to do exercise, like every day, 1 hour, 2 hours is something that I would like to do. But right now, because of time, I'm not doing. People say that we have time for everything, but for me to have to do exercise, it's a challenge yet.
And do you spend some time like training your mind or nurturing your mind, like in this sense, I know, hearing podcasts or reading books, etc., or talking to mentors, for example?
Yes, I have many mentors, and also I read many books, and also I have podcasts. Like I listen podcasts while I am like being prepared for go outside, and these podcasts are related to other business owners who talk about their experience or their challenge. And also while I'm practicing my English, I am learning more about their experience. And the books that I read, they are I don't know if you could hear about them, but Jürgen Klarik, I have read books from this guy that his name is I don't remember the names, but I can provide you a list of these nice books. They are in Spanish, but they help me to like create new habits and improve things in my business. And the other thing is sometimes for the mindset, I listen a guy that it's a Spain guy called Lain. I don't know if you have heard about him, but he helped me a lot to like to be relaxed about having problems and issues. And I have here something very important that I would like to share with you, that sometimes we have different kind of problems in our life, right? And we say, why me? But as he mentioned, if we don't have problems, life could be very boring and easy for all of us. So having different issues or problems or challenge are very important for our life, and we would like to, and we should feel grateful about of them, because like in my experience running a business and also having a job, if if I don't have to face with both, like probably I was just only working from 8 to 5, and after that hours probably watching a movie or something different. But if I am this moment having this kind of situation, is because in a point in my past I decide and I choose that this is something that I want in my present. And if this is something that is going and happening right now, is because we really wanted to do it like this, and we should feel happy that things are going as we decide in the past. So that's why when I face problems or issues, I feel a little bit tired, but also I try to focus in the positives part, where without this it's impossible to keep growing, right? Because without this, probably we are not going to ask somebody else or receive new opinions or meet new people. Like things happens for one reason, and life is hard, but this is something that every day we choose to face.
Mhm.
Thanks for sharing this. as they say, problems are the fuel for growth.
Yeah. Thank you, Carlos, for your questions, and thank you, Gabriela. Just to share that, and I think you're doing so good on time management as well. Maybe next time you can share your experience on how you manage your personal time and how you manage your work and your personal life. So I have one more question. So it's a closing question. So because many members of Vision to Reality are newcomers to BC, so can you share some of your advice who are facing stressful scenario while building their own business or finding new jobs?
I didn't get you well. Could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, can you share some of your advice to newcomers in BC who are facing stressful scenarios while they building their own business or finding new jobs?
Yes. I would like to share that sometimes it's not necessary to think too much in choose a decisions. Like in life, we have different opportunities that happens in different moments in our life, and we have probably few minutes to choose the right decision or not. So in my case, when I had the opportunity to build a business and prepare everything, of course, in the beginning was so hard, and it was like I remember when I was crying with my partner because we are in a new country and we didn't know how to run a business, and we didn't know more people, so we have to do everything by ourselves at the beginning. It's difficult, but we have to enjoy the process, and also if we have this kind of good vibes in something that could help us in our personal and professional career, I consider that we have to choose and do it. Like, don't think too much in something that you believe it's good for you or in your convictions. Sometimes they are telling you that it's good to do it, and do it. It's important to do it instead of say I would like to do it and you don't do it, right? So that's why I consider, like, if you are looking for a job or trying to open your business, and if you find a good vibes or good conviction that is something that's going to work for you, try to do it. Try to do it, not perfect, but try to do your best and wait for those results that you were working on it many years. And also keep going in life, and the journey with our objectives are very important to identify which things are really good for us and for our family. And we have to put in a balance if this is something is good for you, or if you see that there are many things that could not go good through this process. Trust in the way that you are doing it, and always do your best. Sometimes we want to do everything perfect, but it's impossible, and also it's impossible to have the control of everything. And if you have the opportunity, you have that challenge in your hands, just take it. Don't waste too much time thinking about something, because opportunities pass so fast. And always prioritize what things are important for you and for your family. And we can do, as my experience, we can do different stuff, but also knowing what are the first 2 or 3 things that are important for our present.
Yeah.
And about looking for jobs, probably in this community, we are going to find a lot of students looking for jobs, and it's normal. I have passed around 20 interviews with different companies. It was hard. I remember that I cried, I stressed, I thought many times that I am not enough, but I believe that good things happens in the moment that should happen. But the key is to keep going all the time and be prepared all the time with every option that you have. For example, with your resume, with your speech, with certificates that are important for you or for the position that you are applying for. Also, do a great connections with more people, go to this kind of networks events where you find more people, and you can learn from them. And it's a difficult journey, but there's a moment that you are going to see back and say that this is something that had to pass to be the person that you are in this moment.